Hello and welcome back to Assetto Corsa for another video on the Nordschleife challenge. Thank you very much for joining me in today's video, and if you have not yet gone ahead and seen some of the other videos, I've already taken out cars such as the E30 M3. Last week I took out the Roof Yellowbird. That was a nightmare. I've even taken out small cars like an Abarth 595. I've also taken out, what other cars have I taken out? A Sierra Cosworth. We've had a Sierra Cosworth on the channel. We've had quite a few cars. The Lotus Evora, no, not Evora, Lotus Exige S. And I've put these all into a timesheet, and I've put these all into a driver enjoyment sheet or drivability sheet. So if you have not seen those videos, please do go check out to see if your car or your favourite car has been featured so far. Today I'm going to be taking out the Lamborghini Miura, as requested twice apparently in two completely different circumstances, and then they saw each other's comments. So the Lamborghini Miura P400 Superveloce SV. This car was produced between 1971 and 1972, so we've jumped back almost over 15 years since last week's Yellowbird, and this is we've jumped back 15 years, but we've added 6 cylinders and gone from a flat to a V. So this is a V12 engine, churning out something along the lines of 380 brake horsepower and 295 foot-pounds or 400 newton meters of torque, allowing this car to do 0 to 60 in about 6.4 seconds, and a top speed claimed anyway, of 186 miles per hour. All of that power, by the way, is transferred to the rear wheels, and the wheels that we have are 15-inch rims, and we have tyres which are FR60 VR15s. So this is going to be interesting. Also, on top of that, we have very specific tyres here. In fact, in this car, I could not select street 90s or vintage tyres. I've just been stuck with the Pirelli Cinturato, which I believe is the first ever radial tyre made. So there you go. That is the tyre that we are going to be working with today. Make sure you stay tuned for this, and as always, I'm going to be doing a couple of laps specifically for Patreon supporters, in which I'm going to be practicing with this car, and what you see on screen next is going to be some proper laps once I've got the practice, so I'm not spinning around too much, and those are the lap times. Whichever one's the fastest, that is going to end up on the board. So if you do want to support me there, please do go check this out, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so. Anyway, that's enough of me rambling about the specs of the car and what I've done, so on and so forth. Enjoy the colour. I painted it just before this session. I think it looks rather lovely, and let's get started. Okay, here we go. This is going to be an interesting one, I think. I think it's going to be very interesting, because the car itself is a very interesting drive. And let me know what you think the lap time is going to be. I'll tell you now that it's an interesting car. Very, very interesting car to drive. Very light as well. It's 1.2 tons, or just over 1.2 tons, or between 1.2 and 1.3, I suppose. There's a few arguments as to what its actual weight is, what the mass of this car actually is, and the reason being is because it was the 1970s. They'd say one thing, it would be another thing, and I'm sure those people who have watched Top Gear, this is by no means any offence to any Italian, but obviously you've seen the whole joke on Top Gear about how different countries quote their figures. For example, like Porsche, they're known for understating their figures. It's very German. They don't bother with their figures as much, and obviously we also know they understated the figures when it got to diesel emissions. But let's move past that before I'm sued by Audi or anybody. But the Italians have had a habit of overstating figures, or overstating performance. So in this case, this car's 1.2 tons claimed. Some people have measured it to be well over 1.3. Ooh, that's really ruined that lap already. But we're going to say around 1.2 tons. That's what I'm going to say. The car itself, though, is, and I mentioned this on Patreon pretty much very quickly. I figured this one out. It's not a car for the racetrack. This is a Grand Tourer. That's what this car is. This car is designed to go on long cruise, you know, just going for a cruise on a Sunday afternoon or a Saturday afternoon, just travelling through the hills, through the mountains, down through country roads, wide sweeping country roads, not tight twisties. We're talking wide sweeping ones. This is a GT car. I know it's classed as a supercar, but this really is a GT car. I would expect that the way this car drives, I would expect a modern GT vehicle to be driving in this kind of manner. It's genuinely lovely. It is understeering, as you would expect from a big V12 flagship Lamborghini. There is that understeer, but it's nothing too major. Once you learn how to counteract it, there isn't really much to be said about it. One thing that I do have to really mention on this car is that it is so strange to drive a car with 300 and just touch that at the back there. So the rear right wheel touched the curb and it just pushed, or it wanted to jump onto the curb, and that was a bit weird. That's when I started sliding. The car is, what was I saying? It's so strange to have a car with 385 brake horsepower that has such a smooth power delivery. And I think it's a characteristic of V12 engines, but this car is smooth. It's really is, and that again, that just indicates to me that this car is designed to be a Grand Tourer. This is not a car that's designed for fast laps on racetracks or anything like that. This is a genuinely lovely car. All throughout. Perhaps not as great as some cars, but it's very, very good. Not as catchy or as flamboyant, I suppose, as later Lamborghinis, and certainly its successors were a lot catchier, a lot more flamboyant. The Countach, the Diablo, the Murcielago, the Aventador, all far catchier vehicles. Certainly I think the Diablo is my favourite of that lot, followed closely by the Aventador and Countach. I think the Murcielago was the one that I really do not particularly like, because it just feels a little bit odd. It felt a little bit odd, just looked a bit bulky, a bit bloated, you know, that sort of stuff. This car does not have any of that, and being the Super Veloce, the SV, this car also is one of only 150 to be made. Made, as I said, between 1971 and 1972. This was the end of the Miura's run, and so Lamborghini tend to make these SV cars, and they still do it to this day. We've had the Countach. I don't know whether the Countach had an SV. We've certainly had a Diablo SV We've had the Murcielago SVs, and we've had the Aventador SV and SVJ as well. I think SVJ is their roadster version of the car. But this car is interesting to drive. Again, I'm not going to say it doesn't feel. The thing about this car is it just does not feel like it's not very exciting, and that again gives me that Grand Tourer feel to it. It's not an exciting car to drive. It's just a very good car to drive. That just all went wrong, didn't it? Oh. The sound from the engine is lovely. V12, I think you're hard pressed to beat a V12. Obviously V10s are great, V8s are great, inline 5s are great, but V12s are something special. They do have a very special sound. I still think the V10 is the best engine sound you can have, but I would put both the i5 and the V12 in second place, then followed very closely by the V8 in third place, depending on which type of V8 it is, the American style or the European style, which do sound very different because of the firing orders of these cylinders, which is why you have the very specific noises on the Chargers and the Challengers and the Camaros and the Corvettes and the Mustang, compared to what you get from a Mercedes AMG or a BMW or something like that. The Audi R8 when they used to be V10s. Right. The first time I'm approaching this at speed, it seems to be doing remarkably well. Now, I thought this thing would get fairly close, I actually thought it'd be faster than the Macan. What do we have so far? Oh, it's not faster than the Macan. That's annoying. I want this car to be faster than the Macan. I really, really do. 3 seconds to make up for this car to be faster than the Macan. That's going to be a difficult one. But let's see what we can do. As I said, this car, it does take a while to get used to the car. I'm going to say that as well. Not to drive it. To drive it is easy. I mean, to get some speed out of it. That's where it's difficult. To drive the car is honestly a piece of cake. It just, I think anybody could get into a car like this and just drive. They really, truly could. 1.5 seconds up. Still need another 3 seconds from there though. How am I going to do that? Was that faster or was that slower? That was slightly slower. Just really trying my best here. I really want this car to do well. Just carry every extra bit of speed that I can through these corners, and then just every single time it's done this hairpin so beautifully. Every single time. It's been great. I've never had a car go through the hairpin so nicely before. Really haven't. In fact, I've not had a car go through that section so nicely so far. Thus far, this has been the best car to go through that section for me. .131, I'm losing time again. 131, I've got 1.5 seconds I need to somehow find for this car. The other thing about this car is that it's very hard to lock the wheels. These tyres, they're 215s, but they feel really, really good, these tyres do. Honestly, they're great. I sound like Tony the Tiger there. They're great. There we go, come on. Just trying everything I can to get every tiny bit of lap time out of this car now, because I want to beat the Macan. And I think this car can beat the Macan because it's got that capability to do so. There we go. Very slight twitches on the car, but still, again, there's nothing too severe on it, and that's why I find it interesting. I keep doing that though, and that's going to ruin this lap. That's not the first time I've lost it on that. Every time so I've done 2 practice laps, and that lap, as well as one other lap, and I've managed to lose the gear coming into that corner 3 times out of 4. Make of that what you will. Well, let's see. We've still got half a lap to go, and this is the more technical side of the lap. So you never know what we can do out of all of this. Come on. There's probably a little bit of time to be made up here. Oh, come on. Any time made up? Please let there be time made up there. Once again, I'm sure this is for some people this is going to be some of that almost edge of the seat stuff, where you're really looking to how close these times are going to be. The predicted lap time is now, I believe, is showing it to be faster than a Macan. I think. I cannot 100% confirm that. I am now using 2nd gear here as opposed to 3rd. I think last time I was using 3rd through all of this, because I really do want that lap time. The gearing for this car is, again, as I said, it's rather long. It's suited more to sweeping, fast sweeping corners, not anything mid-speed or low speed like these are. So there is that limit between 3rd and 4th. Ah, that was bad. That was really bad. I think I'm pushing the tyres just a slight bit beyond what they're capable of now. But I really, really want this to be a great lap. I think this car is capable of a 29, 28 maybe. And that's what I want it to be able to do. Down here, this car does not like this section for some reason. Really does not. It's struggling through all of this. Down to 2nd. Come on. In. Whoa. Control. That's not good. Yeah, it does struggle through that section a lot, and I suppose that's part of my driving, where I have always had problems with that section, and this car as well, just the understeer nature of the car. Okay, so What's the lap time going to be? I said this would beat the Macan. I said that in comments last week. I say comments, it was response to comments from last week. Whether that's going to be the case or not, I do not know. We're about to find out. I do have the option of a third lap. I do have that option available to me. So it has been 2 laps, I have the option of a third. If I want to take it. What is the lap time? (8:29.08). Should we try a third lap? Let's see if I make some lap time up soon. We'll try a third lap. If not, we call it. I think a third lap might be worth it. You know, it might just be worth it. Just to cement this car's lap time in, and certainly I'd be rather glad to be right about the lap time on this car. It's not often I'm right about lap times straight off the bat because I drive so many different cars. Oh no, the car just went. Okay, but I can tell you now that in that section there's already there's 1.5 seconds in it there. So realistically this car can do probably a 27. The rest of the lap I think I did fairly well. There's probably one section where I missed the gear, so you're looking at 27. I'd say a 26 is what this car is capable of, and I managed to get it into a 29. I think that was almost a 29 dead. That's what I did it on, so it should be coming up on your screen now, and that places it in front of the Macan. So ahead of the Macan, with the Macan had a 30.695. In fact, I was ahead of the Macan already. As soon as halfway through my second lap, I was ahead of the Macan. So there you go. This car is a Grand Tourer. It's very nice to drive if you are not driving on a racetrack. You can just tell that this car is like that, but it is capable, as you can see, on a racetrack. What am I going to give this car? What do I give this car? What kind of rating? Again, and I think this is to do with the fact that the Sierra is a mod. Now, I think this might be to do with the fact that the Sierra is a mod. Because I have the Sierra sort of starting to slip down. I'm just trying to debate whether this is better than the Sierra or not. I really think the Sierra Cosworth should have been higher up on the list than it is, but obviously, for whatever reason in Assetto Corsa, it is the way it is. So the roof is ahead of the Sierra. We've got the S1 behind that. Hands down, this is better than the S1. This is a better car than the S1. The S1 is really good. This is better. It has a much more elegant feel to it than the S1. The S1, good hot hatch, really good hot hatch. Just feels sporty. This feels sporty and elegant. It just feels, especially with the power delivery, I think that is where it really shines beyond anything I've driven so far. It's just the power delivery. In fact, no, correction, not beyond anything I've driven. There's one other car that's done really well with the power delivery. Oh, I'm hitting walls now. I don't know why I'm missing gears so much in this car though. Probably because either something's stuck. Something might be stuck. Anyway, either we have this car being really smooth on power delivery, or the other car was the Nissan Skyline, which is in the top spots. However, the Skyline just felt amazing through everything. This car still has its understeer moments. It still feels a bit boaty. It's still a bit sluggish, but it has a nice smooth progression, and I really like that about a car. The roof, on the other hand, was very just aggressive, and that the reason it has such a high spot is it's really aggressive, but it's so. I suppose the right term would be it's exhilarating to drive. This is not exhilarating, but it is elegant, and for that I think I'm going to place it ahead of the RS500 again. I still feel like the RS500 should have been doing better, and I'm actually going to place it ahead of the Yellowbird too. It's not as fast a car as the Yellowbird, no way. But it's so elegant. It's such an elegant car to drive, and I think it's that smoothness of the power delivery makes this car a car that you could jump in and just drive and drive and drive and drive. And for that, it takes 4th place off the roof. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video, subscribe to the channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa, for more Nordschleife challenges. There are so many cars now making their way onto the list. If you have a car that you would like to see me drive, please do let me know in the comments box, and I will try and accommodate you. Also, if you can support me on Patreon, please do consider doing so at www.patreon.com/ECGadget. Your support would be massively appreciated. It would really help me out, and whatever you decide to donate, pledge, it would be extremely helpful. Lastly, you can find me on social media at ECGadget LP for both Twitter and Instagram. I am so tempted to do another lap of this, and I will be. This is one of the cars that I will certainly be returning to. In fact, I probably will end up returning to almost all the cars once I've been driving them for a while. But that is all from me, and I will see you next time in Assetto Corsa for another challenge on the Green Hell.